Hi, I'm Gwynneth Powell from Everly Green Yoga, and I'd love to show you what you can do with an Ottoman. So Ottomans come in different sizes, so just do the best that you can with what you have. If you've got a tall Ottoman like me, you may also need a chair, and I also put out a couple of blankets and a couch cushion. So these are things that we might use. The first pose we're going to do is a standing forward bend. Then we're going to do an entry-level back bend over the Ottoman, and then we're going to do an entry-level inversion. So if you do those sorts of things and they don't scare you, then follow along. And you don't have to have a yoga mat, though it is nice if your feet can be wide apart and not have any slippage. So lift up the inner arches of your feet and press down the outer edges of your feet. So you're not rolling in on the feet. Really pressurize the outer edges of your feet. The hips stay over the ankles as if we're still standing. So I'm not leaning forward. I'm just starting to bend at the hips, keeping the hips as if the heels and buttocks were at the wall. They stay there. And then I've got the bolster, Ottoman, and I bring the head down and fold the elbows. Now, if that's a little bit too far down for you, you can pick up easily any amount of height, and you can put your head even onto your folded arms. If you're very flexible and this seems very easy, then feel free to bring your legs closer together, even together, and bring your head and your arms to rest. So the most important thing while you find your spot is that your head is resting. So if you feel like your head is dangling to reach, it's better to make a couple of fists on top of each other so that your head easily reaches down. And if you have the space, you can push your Ottoman away and just rest the edge of your forehead on your support. So staying here, lifting up your kneecaps. Make your legs really strong without hyperextending your knees. So we're not pushing backwards in the knees, but just holding the legs straight. This is called Prasarita Padottanasana, or with the legs a little closer together, Uttanasana. So notice how my back is flat. If you feel like your back is very hunched, then it could just mean, I'll show you, that you need extra height, maybe a couch cushion and a couple of folded blankets. So then when you bring your head, maybe it's to the edge of the blankets now, not to the edge of the Ottoman, you find your back has a little more freedom, and you can start to even maybe make a little hammock effect in your back. So you're really open in the chest, as if you're zipping up a jacket. So you can hold this for as long as you want, but we're going to wrap it up about there. So to come out, just bend your knees and heel toe the feet back together. And we're going to come into a back bend now. I'm just pulling this forward a bit so that we want to be able to stretch our legs out. Now I asked you to have a chair, and this is for someone who doesn't want to have any wants to keep their head in a very neutral position while they're doing a back bend. So the most important thing to know when using your Ottoman is you want to sit on the edge of it as if you're about to fall off. Now, it depends a little bit on your height and the width of your Ottoman, but you can see my elbows here. I want to come back off the Ottoman so my shoulder blades feel like they're coming off the edge a little bit. So I've taken the chair because I am pretending I don't want my head to be thrown back. So you can see what a nice opening this is in the chest. You can take the legs if you want to make strong leg action. You can see how strong the legs have to be. And here you might even find you've got a nice rest for your arms on the chair seat. Now, this may be fine for some of you, and you can stay there, but for those of you who want to go a little further with the head, I wanted to show you that you could also take the prop we used in the last pose, and you see it's quite a bit lower than the chair, but it will offer some support. So again, always starting with your buttocks almost coming off the bolster or the ottoman. So when you come back, adjust so your elbows are free, so you have that freedom, and then the head can come back and the arms can stay stretched out, the legs can go stretched out, or the other option again is you can hold the upper arm and then tuck the other fingers in, and then you have a nice support for your arms and your head. This can be done with the head hanging, but I wouldn't suggest that for beginners. So this is a nice way to hold the back bend, just to go over the legs. If they're straight, you're really pressing out strongly in the heels. The legs are poker straight and the fronts of the thighs are pressing down towards the floor. So that gives you this nice opening from the bottom of the abdomen to the top of the chest. And you can stay here if you have the right support. You might stay here for 5 minutes or more. So we're just going to go quickly through these poses, but feel free to come back and do them anytime. So to come out, we'll bend the knees and hold on to something, either the edge or the sides, and push your arms, push your elbows down so you can come up with an open chest, and then we'll just sit back on the ottoman. And before we do our last pose, I'll just have you do a simple twist here. So you just hold on to your opposite leg and turn around. Notice I'm bending the elbow so my chest can lift up, so there's no hunching of the shoulders. And then around to the other side, so holding the leg, holding the back of the ottoman, and lift and turn the spine, turn the head even. And we can do that twice on each side. Twists are nice to do for short holdings, but more repetitions. Sometimes we do things, let's do 3 times. Sometimes we take holdings for 10 minutes, but not in a twist. Usually we would go back and forth with the twist. Okay, so that was our entry-level back bend, and now we're going to do an entry-level inversion. So if you're menstruating, it would not be advised to do inversions like this at all, even though it's an entry-level inversion. Detached retinas or glaucoma, not advised. But if you don't have any of those things, even sometimes high blood pressure, even with this very low inversion, could be affected. So just if you're, everything is normal, then feel free to join here. So we're going to figure out how to lay down on the floor and bring the legs up on the up on the ottoman. This in itself, I will say, cured a friend's back pain, and she was so thrilled with this pose, and she stayed there for about 15 minutes. She had a pillow and a blanket, and but just saying, if you're not doing the inversion, this is also a good place to be. So I asked you to have some blankets and a couch cushion, but just so you know, you could also do this up on some yoga blocks. So I just happen to have that there. I just wanted to show you. Now, the only thing to know about getting yourself into this pose, now I've got quite a bit of height, so I'm gonna do my best to get up there. And the thing to know is not to turn your head when you're stretching your neck. So as you can see now, I'm gonna press down the heels. So I'm not pushing out, because I don't want to push the ottoman away. I'm just going to press the heels down to lift up, and notice I come onto the tops of my shoulders, and without looking, I try to drive that train just underneath And it is a bit of a wiggling. And if you have a helper, by all means, get someone to help you. So get your hips down, and you see the shoulders get tucked under. This is like a shoulder stand. The chin is towards the chest. So I am now in an inversion. My hips are higher than my heart, and the legs have a few different positions. I think that's the obvious position. You want a little more opening and your hips feel okay, you can come into Baddha Konasana where the feet are together and the knees are wide. And then the other option, if you're very keen, this is another option, is just having the feet in a very neutral position with the knees bent. Or if your shoulders are tucked under really well, you can take one leg up in the air and then the other leg. So we often do this pose, this is Viparita Karani, with the legs, the back of the legs at the wall. So this is an option. It's not the easiest option. This is probably the easiest option. And then stay here. Stay here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you want, you can put something over the eyes. I was going to show you a little strap. You can put a strap, or I just happen to have a little piece of material here. You can even just fold it and put it over the eyes like that. So while you're in this nice relaxing pose, this will be the pose you'll feel like, oh, I can hold this one for a long time. So use your breath as a tool. Close your eyes. Use your breath as a tool to go inward. So do a very simple breathing exercise by making each exhalation a little bit longer than normal. So as you're exhaling, you're just extending the exhale a little bit longer than it would be normally, and then letting the inhale come in when it's ready. So I'm happy to teach you how to do these poses, but the real nectar and juiciness will come when you practice them by yourself at home. So see if you can remember doing these poses and do them again. Or of course, watch the video again as you need. So 5 to 10 minutes in this inversion. In fact, if you really love this and you only had time to do one thing, I would be happy to do this pose, especially if you're doing something in the middle of the day or the end of the day. This is great to reverse the effects of gravity of, being busy through your day and running here and sitting there. So this is called Viparita Karani with the feet on the chair or the Ottoman. When it's time to come out, we'll bring the feet together and you can curl up the buttocks so you lighten your weight and just pull or push things off to the side. Slowly lay back down. I think I've lost my yoga mat here. I'm just going to move it. And so you're laying flat now, and you can easily reach. Notice I reached even without looking. And you just take a little support under the head. When you're laying down, make sure your pillow is not under the shoulders. It's just touching the under the head and neck, just touching the shoulders. And adjust your height so that your forehead is a little bit higher than the chin. So I'll just show that. Sometimes we lay down and the chin is up, and you see the forehead's dropping back. This makes for a very busy mind. So first of all, we can lengthen the back of the neck and see if we can place it in the right position. And sometimes we just need a bit of a thicker blanket. So now you can see it's a little more pronounced that the forehead is definitely higher than my chin. So I know when I'm laying here and relaxing, my mind is going to have a very good chance to be able to quiet now. As you exhale, see that all is well. The yogis practice contentment. So as you're exhaling, practice seeing that in this body, in this moment, all is perfectly well. Use your exhalation being a little bit longer. And while you're exhaling, practice contentment, santosha. It's a practice. It takes practice, but only for the rest of your life. Well, as long as we have a body in this lifetime, we will have challenges. So it's up to us to try and circumvent some of those challenges with a little bit of mind awareness, mind consciousness. Just bringing the mind to a longer exhalation and just silently say to yourself, in this moment, in this body, all is perfectly well. And say that on every exhalation to yourself. When it's time to come out, we'll bend the knees, take our left arm across the chest, roll all the way to the right side. Use your right arm or your pillow as a pillow. Take a few breaths, just neutralizing here. And then after you've taken 3 real long exhalations, you're ready to sit back up and join the world. So thanks for joining me for those 3 simple home Ottoman yoga practices. And I look forward to doing this again soon. Bye for now. Everly Green Yoga, Gwynneth Powell, signing off.